This one-way ANA business class seats cost $4,500, but I paid just under $200 and 35,000 credit card points. But whether you paid with cash or with points, is this flight worth the cost? To help figure that out, I'll be bringing you through every step of the journey and show you everything that this product has to offer. Today our journey begins at Narita Airport in Japan, and after 7.5 hours in the sky, we will land in Honolulu, Hawaii. But before our flight, since we're flying business class, we have access to ANA's lounge, which I will gladly take advantage of to get some food, some drinks, and my favorite part, to take a shower. Yes, ANA has a hub at Narita Airport, which means that this lounge is massive. There are so many seating options available for you to spread out and get comfortable. Ideally, you should never have to sit next to anyone, and if you do, one of you might have broken an unspoken rule, like when you choose a urinal next to someone when there are others to choose from. However, before we sit down and have the opportunity to make someone feel uncomfortable, we head over to the concierge desk where we put our name down for the shower room queue. Putting your name down is really quick and easy, and you can even see how many people are in line before you. All you need to do is to add your phone number and you'll get a text message notification when it's your time to shower. Now we could go ahead and take a look at the many food and drink options that this lounge has to offer. Starting with the bread, salad, and cold sandwich bar, followed by a couple sushi and musubi options, and other more traditional buffet food like meatballs, pasta, potatoes, sausages, and more. Before we take a look at my favorite food option, let's look at the beverage options that you have, starting with the coffee, tea, water, juice, and soda machines. You have a few wine options and a lot of hard liquor options to help you get loose for your flights. And the great thing is, these are all pour yourself. But my favorite by far is this self-pouring Asahi beer machine. Finally, my favorite food option here at the ANA Lounge is what you could order at the noodle bar. You have a solid list of different soba, udon, and ramen that you could choose from. Or if you're feeling a little shy, you could scan this QR code here and actually order any noodle dish from the noodle bar via online. However, this time, instead of a ramen or soba or udon, I opted for the curry, which is one of my favorite Japanese foods of all time. And soon after finishing my curry, it was my turn to finally go shower. There are around 8 shower rooms at this lounge. They are smaller than the United Polaris lounges in Chicago, but they're also around the same size as the Delta Sky Club showers in Seattle. If those references mean nothing to you, just know that this shower room is moderately sized and you have a decent amount of room to really freshen up. Included with the shower, you receive a toothbrush, a brush, a cotton set, also a hand towel, a towel to wash yourself towel, and a normal bath towel. You also have access to a miniature Thor hammer looking Dysoned hair dryer. As for your other toiletries, you have Sekisei face wash, face lotion, and body lotion, along with Mikimoto hair shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. As for the shower itself, well, it's decent. You have average water pressure, and you have a handheld shower head. There is no rain shower head, which is okay. But it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you're still getting a nice warm shower right before your flight, which is one of the best feelings in the world. Because the last thing you want on top of a long haul flight is feeling all dirty and your face feels oily and all gross and yucky. Now it's finally time to head out the door and experience the business class seat itself. The cool thing about ANA's A380 Flying Honu flights to and from Japan and Honolulu, Hawaii is that it is actually a double-decker airplane. The upper deck skis consist of 8 first-class seats, 56 business-class seats, and 73 premium economy seats. The first class and business class seats have a 1-to-1 seat configuration, so everyone has access to an aisle. And the main deck is filled with 383 economy seats. For today's flight, I opted for the seat 11K because the seats numbered A, C, K, and H are the one configuration seated next to the window. So if you're traveling alone, I would recommend one of those seats so that we have the maximum privacy. As we get comfortable and start to settle in, let's go ahead and open up our other goodies such as the slippers, pillow, comforter, bed cushion mat, headphones, and amenity kit. And if you're wondering where do I keep all of these while I'm not using them, I just stuff them in the storage unit containers next to your seat, kind of like a squirrel hoarding its nuts. As a part of the onboarding process, you are offered a choice between champagne or orange juice, and this time I opted for the more tamer option. Now we could sit back and relax as we propel ourselves down this runway in a giant metal tube. Now we are officially on our journey to travel over 3,800 miles across the Pacific Ocean to Honolulu. Since we are in the air, let's go ahead and talk about the seat itself. The seat is made up of some sort of fabric with a thin cushioning underneath. It's not the most comfortable airplane seats that I've ever been on, but the fact that you could lie down and you have so much extra legroom really makes up for it. You also have a few different options as far as seat controls to make sure it's as comfortable as possible. The first option is simply to recline your seats all the way down 180 degrees to a lie flat seat configuration. However, a small problem that I found is that when you recline these seats, the left armrest becomes lower than the right armrest. So if you want to lay your arms down, it's not as comfortable as if they were the same height. Also, if you want to keep your seats slightly reclined, I would recommend inserting the pillow behind your head because it makes it much more comfortable to lay your head on. One of the wackier seat controls is that you can move your entire seat forward or backward. Now I could see this making sense when you want to make slight adjustments, like you want to get closer to the screen because you have poor eyesight like myself, or you want to get closer to the dinner table so you can eat better. But this seat goes way too far or close to the screen than I thought you would be able to go. But that's not truly a complaint because the more options you have, the better off you'll be. Just like this last seat option, which is the ergonomic lumbar support. This feature doesn't really show well on camera, but it basically just inflates or deflates this bump for extra spine support. Moving on from the chair, you have a nice pull-out meal tray, which you could easily put a laptop on here and do work from, or have a nice dinner on, which you'll see later in the video. Accompanying that space is a nice nightstand area, which I like to call it a nightstand because it's around the same size as one and you throw your random knickknacks on it as well. Alongside that is a nice hanger for your headphones and a small space for literature, but it's 2024, we have books on our iPhones and iPads, so you can store those behind that in that space as well. While your electronics are rebelliously resting in the literature area, you could charge them with one of the two supplied USB ports or the main outlet. Additional lighting options for your seat start with this desk lamp, which I was awkwardly fondling to try and turn on. Save yourself the embarrassment, there's a button underneath to turn it on and off. You also have an overhead lighting option as well. Aside from touching the screen itself, you have this remote to control the entertainment screen in front of you. It also conveniently lists the time remaining left on your flight. Alongside the window, you have two very deep storage containers which you could store your amenities, your goodies, your personal goods, or nuts if you're a squirrel. I also noticed that in between every chair and the window, there's this small layer of foam. I'm not quite sure exactly what this is for, to prevent vibration maybe, or to prevent your phone from falling down the crack, because we all know how bad that is in your car. Lastly, your personal do not disturb light is located above your nightstand. Now that we are at cruising altitude, the meal service has begun with the passing out of a bottle of water and a wet towel, aka oshibori. On this flight, we have a few meal and snack options to choose from, along with a lot of different beverage options. They have multiple options of every type of alcohol that they have, starting with shochu, sake, champagne, white wine, red wine, cocktails, whiskeys, and other spirits, beer, and other liquor. Of course, you have your non-alcoholic options as well, such as teas, coffee, juices, sodas, and even milk. Then for the main food, you have two different cuisines to choose from, the Japanese cuisine or the international cuisine. You also have a small section of other meals or snacks that you could order throughout your flight. For today's flight and pretty much every other time I fly ANA, I am opting for the Japanese cuisine option. However, whether you get the international or Japanese cuisine set, you're going to get the same appetizer, which on this flight is the ANA signature pie stick and marinated shrimp, cheese, and olive. As you might imagine, this appetizer is really simple, so the marinated shrimp just tasted like cold shrimp. The cheese, which I believe was mozzarella, tasted like mozzarella. And the olive, I don't eat olives, so I would imagine it just tastes like a normal olive. This ANA signature pie stick was kind of a mystery. I've never had this before. I didn't know what to expect. It looked like a bagel bite toppings with the pepperoni and maybe some marinara sauce because of the red, but it was nothing like that. This so-called breadstick or pie stick really just tasted like a bland breadstick. It wasn't that great. It wasn't bad, but I was not going to finish the whole thing. Thankfully, not too long after, the main Japanese cuisine set came over to save the day, and that was way more delicious. This set came with 5 different dishes, so let's go over each and every one of them. Miso soup, dry cured tuna ham and avocado salad style with onion sauce. This dish had a bunch of bite-sized stuff such as kelp with herring roe, boiled seaweed and shoyu, simmered Pacific sari and sansho pepper sauce, deep fried fish cake with mozuku seaweed, matcha and cheese tofu. Dessert was a pudding with chestnut cream, and the main dish was simmered beef and root vegetables in shoyu and steamed rice. I also forgot to mention I had a glass of Merlot, apple juice, and water. I know, what a great combination. And speaking of great combinations, let's talk about a not so great combination, which was the dish that came with the selection of morsels. Yeah, I'm slightly of a picky eater, but I did not really like anything on that small dish. However, most of the other dishes were a different story, starting with the miso soup, which was averagely good. The sashimi, or the tuna, was delicious, even though it came with avocado, which was a bit unique. And the main beef dish was delicious. It was moist, it was savory, it definitely carried the weight of the other dishes and was the main star of the show. And sorry, I'm not a fan of chestnut, so I didn't try the pudding thing. Overall, taking into consideration my likes and dislikes, so keep in mind my pickiness, I will give this meal a total score of 7 out of 10. I wasn't watching my weight, although I had a lot of leftovers, but something I could have watched is the in-flight entertainment. On this 18-inch LCD monitor, they had a very long list of Hollywood blockbuster movies, so you should have no problem finding one or a few to entertain you throughout the entire flight. You also have a few audio recordings, TV shows, and ebooks to entertain you as well, or a sky map and the bird's eye view cameras. And everyone's favorite thing to do while they're on an airplane is to shop for neckties and other random accessories. Well, on this flight, you could do that as well. Before I head to bed due to a self-induced food coma and maybe a little bit of the red wine, let's go ahead and check out the business class lavatory on top of ANA's A380. I know it's an airplane bathroom, but it's small. You only really have room to turn around. You do have a toothbrush, toothpaste, and mouthwash, a motion-activated sink, a hands-free trash can. Surprisingly enough, there's a fully functioning bidet on board as well. Not from personal experience, because I don't like bidets, but I'm assuming that it'll work. That completes the tour of the bathroom. Now let's head back to our seats and make our bed, because this flight is only around halfway through, so I want to try and get a solid nap in before breakfast. Setting up our bed is pretty simple, and it starts with unpacking all of the goodies that we stored for hibernation, because finally we're going to use them. It's a simple 3-step process, with first reclining the seats all the way down, and number 2, putting down the bed cushion mat, which apparently I don't know which way is right side up, and then finally you could lie down, relax, and go to sleep. Remember earlier that I said the chair wasn't that comfortable? Well, the bed cushion mat definitely makes it a lot more bearable. It's definitely not soft, but it's better than when you used to sleep on your friend's living room floor during a sleepover. And after that short-lived slumber, at least I woke up to a beautiful sunrise. And that's going to be the backdrop while I open up the amenity kits and we take a look at what's inside before we eat breakfast. Every business class seat comes with this amenity kit, which starts with the Globetrotter pouch. Inside of the pouch, you'll find L'Occitane lip balm, L'Occitane body lotion, a set of earplugs that looks like the candy dots, an eye mask that I already used to sleep, and finally, if you didn't take one of the many toothbrushes and toothpaste in the bathroom, you have your own in your amenity kit. Overall, it's a pretty basic amenity kit and nothing too special in there. And finally, it is time for our second meal on this business class flight, which is going to be a very simple breakfast. You will have some assorted fruits, a cup of yogurt, which by the way, this is one of my favorite brands of yogurt, mainly because I could buy it at Costco and I happen to like the strawberry flavor. Then you have yourself a nice cold sandwich. Immediately, I went straight to the yogurt because I knew that was going to be good, that it was going to be a banger. I skipped the fruits because they did not have fruits that I eat, which are usually oranges, grapes, bananas, strawberries, etc. All the basic main simple ones. And I was a little excited for the sandwich because I was assuming a simple turkey and cheese, turkey and ham with some cheese sandwich, but I was surprised that there was mayo as soon as I opened it up. But hey, unlike the things from the main Japanese cuisine entree for dinner, I actually tried a bite of this to see if it was going to be any good. And as you can see from my face, it was not the most pleasant thing that I've had so far. So unfortunately, I had to put that down and go back to what I know is good, the yogurt, and I had to give this meal a 4 out of 10, simply because I'm picky. This could be a better meal for you, but I did not like it. To make things better, they did provide us with a chocolate cookie after, and even though I ate so much for breakfast and was so full, I ate it and this was good. As we start our descent and eventually land, let's go over, is this business class flight worth it? If you had to pay $4,500 cash for a one-way flight, I don't think that this is worth it. But then again, I'm into the credit card game, so paying cash for business class and first class flights aren't usually worth it for me anyways. However, if you could find yourself a deal like I did where you pay less than $200 and just 35,000 credit card points, then yes, I think this is very worth it. However, if you don't want to use credit card points or you don't have credit cards, technically I use Virgin Atlantic miles or points, so if you fly with Virgin or if you have 35,000 points with Virgin Atlantic, you could just use those points and a couple $100s and get the same exact flight that I did. But whether you want to use Virgin Atlantic points or credit card points, watch this video here as I show you a step-by-step guide on how to redeem it for a flight like this. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Shoots!